Hello all and welcome to today's webinar, Streamlining Construction Procurement with SAP Ariba. My name is Jackie Sarasahula. I'm Vice President of Marketing at B4 Consulting. And before we get into today's session, I'd like to cover a few agenda items. We'll have some introductions about B4 Consulting and the Ariba Solution Suite. We'll discuss construction procurement and the Ariba Procure-to-Pay solution. Then we'll get right into our procurement demo, and then have a preview of the future of procurement with visual procurement that's made possible through the integration of InfinyD from our partner Innate and Ariba. And we'll close the Q&A session. So it is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Philip Schell, who is Vice President of Industry Solutions at B4 Consulting. Philip has dedicated his professional career to the construction and real estate industry, and is focused on helping these industries to adopt technologies that streamline business operations and advance growth. He's worked with a number of leading companies, including Dominion Energy, Fluor, and the Minto Group. I'm also pleased to introduce Erica Andrews. Erica is a senior Ariba consultant with B4 Consulting. She's worked in the Ariba community for many years, both on the Ariba side of the house and on the customer side. Expert in a range of spend management solutions, Erica is currently starting an Ariba implementation project at Kiewit. So, at this point, I'd like to hand the session over to Philip, who will give you some insights into B4 Consulting. Philip?
Thank you, Jackie. It's my pleasure today to introduce everybody on the line to B4 Consulting and to the exclusive industries that we focus on as a firm. In the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see EC&O, and this refers to all the different construction segments that we have expertise in. We've worked with self-perform, EPC companies, general contractors, specialty trade companies. We've worked with home builders, and even land acquisition and developers. We also have worked with real estate companies, and especially have a focus on owner-operators who are either building for their own portfolio or managing capital projects for those builds. We also specialize in professional services in the areas of engineering services for the construction industry and for the architectural services. We also specialize in field services. This is field asset management or field facilities management. And this is actually managing the assets that the construction industry builds. We also specialize in equipment management, and this is the area of the equipment that is used in construction, or that owners own in construction, and then the management of that equipment in the field. And you'll also see an indication there of the line of business. This is an indication of all the owners that we work with, whether oil and gas, telecom, or utilities that also have these same processes of construction or real estate and asset management that they also have to manage. You can see our roots on the upper left-hand corner is that we were founded here in the U.S. in 1996. We also have business management consultants at the very foundation of our company. Our consultants bring this business management expertise to bear with our clients. Our consultants have in construction, they have construction management degrees or engineering degrees, or have worked with construction companies, or in real estate and equipment. And they've dedicated themselves to not only the business that they grew up in or understand, but also the emerging technologies that support that as well. Our headquarters are in the Boston area. We also have regional headquarters across the U.S., Canada, and Europe. In the lower left-hand part of the slide, you'll see a list of solutions. And we engage with our clients by really listening to their requirements and building an end-to-end solution out of the components that you see here. And these represent solutions with our partner SAP, and also our partner with Innate, who has built several construction-specific solutions. And you'll see different ERP solutions in different sizes. You'll see estimating solutions. You'll even see ELO for a document management solution. You also will see some mobile solutions that are non-SAP solutions that we integrate to SAP solutions. But today we're going to focus on an area of Ariba for procurement in construction, and InfinyD as a way to get to the direct spend of construction. So now let me show you where we have gotten some of our experience in the past on this slide. You'll see ABB and ALSTOM in the upper left. We began in the mid-90s working with these companies as they were coming from Europe into the U.S. and in a merger and acquisition phase, and also started working with some of their existing subsidiaries. So since the mid-90s, we've been building a foundation of understanding of engineering, construction, and different construction segments, and building a base of knowledge and consultants since that time. You'll also see some of the other companies that we've worked with equipment and with general contracting as well. But now let me show you some of the more recent engagements. And you'll see from this list with LP Simonelli and Turner up at the top, general contractors that we're working with, and then with Hewitt, Zachary, and Fleur with some of the self-perform operations that we are working with and have deep understanding. You'll see Minto on the right as an owner-operator who builds for their own portfolio. They build high-rise commercial construction and high-rise residential as well as single-family home residential. Then you'll see Dominion, the Irvine company, PBF as examples of owners that we're working with that have those same business processes in their operations. And you'll see Oryx and Transfield as an example of field service organizations dedicated to asset management in the field. And then Amico and Brandt as equipment companies. As you can see, every one of these EC&O ecosystem companies have different procurement processes. Each one of them are unique to the segment that they have, and we bring that understanding of those procurement processes in today's discussion of Ariba. And now I would like to introduce Erica as she introduces all of us to the power of Ariba.
Thank you, Philip. So a little bit about Ariba. Ariba was founded in 1996 and was later acquired by SAP in 2012. Prior to the acquisition, Ariba had made its mark on the procurement world by creating the world's largest cloud-based B2B network, connecting buyers and sellers. What once started as a handful of trading partner relationships has actually grown exponentially year over year to nearly 1.5 million trading partners and nearly $1 trillion in annual spend. Today, Ariba is part of the SAP Business Network that includes the cloud-based leaders in travel and expense, contingent labor, and talent and workforce management. To the right of the slide, we actually see a small sampling of the construction industry represented as trading partners on the Ariba network. In fact, we're starting to see a tipping point in more and more construction companies and their suppliers joining. As the leader in cloud-based procurement, Ariba is the only solution that holistically covers all aspects of the source-to-settle process. In fact, when Ariba is combined with InfinyD, Ariba can be the holistic procurement solution for both direct and indirect spend within the construction industry. From rich spend analytics to strategic sourcing and contract lifecycle management to an Amazon-like buying experience and streamlined AP processing, Ariba delivers a unified solution to truly enforce what you source. And worth mentioning too, regardless of the ERP or system you're using for master data, HR data, financials, or materials master, Ariba can integrate to it. We've developed a standard integration toolkit that enables customers to rapidly integrate systems. And shortly, we'll actually be discussing a unique scenario where we use InfinyD to integrate your visual design construction applications with Ariba to capture competitive bidding on all materials needed for an individual construction project. Ariba has solutions to address both indirect and direct construction spend. It can support using bids for estimating and buying those materials and services downstream. Later in this session, Philip will discuss how to actually buy out your design data. So whether you're looking to seek 3 bids and a buy for estimates on a direct material or good, or leveraging catalog negotiating pricing for an indirect or MRO item, Ariba enables the procurement channel through processing category management, dashboard reporting, and workflows to ensure compliance, reduce costs, and eliminate spend leakage. It can also help you manage your DVE compliance and spend. Ariba Sourcing delivers your strategic sourcing process using a project management methodology and best practices. Electronically issue your RFIs, RFPs, or auctions, capture supplier responses, score, and award suppliers all through a single user interface. Essentially, you create a project-level view of all of the procurement phases of a construction job. Optimize the results to measure savings potential and track the results over time. Ariba Procure-to-Pay takes the results of your sourcing negotiations one step further and provides a mechanism for buying sourced, contracted, or catalog-based items. Drive purchasing through pre-configured, easy-to-understand workflows for approval, and leverage real-time budget checks to ensure spend compliance within cost centers or within the project. All accessible through your desktop or device, you're able to execute all procurement functions, whether you're in the office or on a job site. Procure-to-Pay addresses three key savings levers: cost savings, spend compliance, and process improvement. The Aberdeen Group's research finds that best-in-class organizations that leverage Procure-to-Pay see improvement across all three of these KPIs within both procurement and accounts payable. So imagine, if you will, if I told you 3 years ago you could summon a driver from your phone. Not only would you know exactly when to expect that driver, what type of car would arrive, that you could share your ETA with friends, and that you could pay that driver with zero cash needed. You probably wouldn't believe it. I'm referring to Uber, of course. So, Uber did it with ride sharing, and the goal is to allow Ariba to empower your organization to have that same transformative approach to simplifying and streamlining procurement. So now I'm going to take you through a brief demonstration. We're going to focus on sourcing and procurement within Ariba. Let's jump right in. So here we have a sourcing project. Remember I told you it was a container, if you will, of project management methodology. So here you can see all of my documents necessary. In this example, we're actually building a new warehouse. So there's a lot of documents, a lot of phases, a lot of different purchasing that's going to be going on for this new warehouse. Let's expand each of my documents so you can see what I'm keeping in each of these folders. I've got a sourcing strategy. We might have some category perspective, any T's and C's that we want to make sure go out to our suppliers. We've got all of the documents that we'll be negotiating, our RFPs. Maybe we're going to go to auction later. Savings form for tracking savings over time, any corresponding contracts, as well as performance management documents for our suppliers. We have our tasks too. So our tasks outline the process that we'll follow to build this new warehouse. We have a analyze and plan strategy phase, source and negotiate, create contracts. And again, this was really just kind of an outline of your process for how you'll execute upon building this new warehouse. We go into our RFP. So this is what we might be issuing out to our vendors to capture bids. We have some guidelines initially as far as timing. So how long do suppliers have to respond to this event? The suppliers indicate who we've invited to capture responses. So when you invite suppliers, these might be suppliers that you already know, or you're able to tap into that 1.5 million trading partners on the Ariba network to maybe obtain a new source of supply, maybe theoretically make your event more competitive by bringing in someone that you've not worked with before in the past. Here's where we build out the content for suppliers to bid. So very easily, if you wanted to create your own line items on the fly, you could very easily do so. We see a lot of customers building out what we call a sourcing library. So your sourcing library might contain industry-specific content for you to go and bid, whether it's construction, building maintenance, IT. The last and final way is we can actually integrate into another system. So we'll be talking about InfinyD later, but the ability to tap in all of the materials needed for an individual project using maybe a visual project design tool, including all specifications, quantities, sizes, anything that you might need. We can integrate that data into here to pre-populate the content for you. I'm going to show you an event too that we've already run. So keeping with our new warehouse theme, here we have an event that had run. This is actually, we were building the foundation for our new warehouse. So here we have all of the materials. We've got some building materials needed. machinery and services for this new foundation. And we've actually sent this out to bid. We have 3 different suppliers that had bid on the event. You can see the bid history as well as who's indicated as the lead bidder. You can also go through side by side to see exactly how each supplier had bid and which one came in at the lead bid for each item. You can build out scenarios for awarding. So while best price and lead bid is the most strategic or can drive the most savings, you may also want to take into account other factors. So in this example, of all the bids that came in, the lead bid position means that we should select 2 different suppliers. However, let's say, for example, awarding 2 suppliers doesn't make sense. We only want to award 1 supplier across all of the bids. In this example, while savings does go down marginally, this shows you, if we went with 1 supplier relative to all 3, what savings would look like. Other factors that you can take into account. So award only 1 supplier and have it be an incumbent. So what would savings look like if we went with a supplier that we've already had a relationship with in the past? Or let's take in multiple constraints. Lowest price, only 1 supplier, and that supplier is a DBE or minority-owned supplier. You can even take into account items that not necessarily were included in the bid, but are just items about that supplier that you may want to include. Once you develop your award scenario and strategy, you can very easily go into the award, communicate award status to either the awarded or non-awarded supplier, and create a contract capturing some of those pricing terms right off the bat. We'll now move forward into purchasing, or the procurement side. So you begin purchasing using a requisition. A requisition is essentially just a request to buy some items. And it'll start off taking you to the catalog home screen. So this is designed to be a flexible and dynamic page for all of your end users. What that means is that I'm only able to view items that I'm authorized to buy for. So for instance, in this example, I have a number of items in my promoted screen. This might feature some of our preferred suppliers. I'm actually authorized to buy in both US dollars and Great British pounds. So, not only is it authorized to buy within certain items or SKUs, but also within certain regions. So my capability in this example is I can purchase from a global perspective, which other times you may want to limit that. Because we want to be able to address direct and indirect spend, for our direct items that may not exist in the catalog, we can create what we call a non-catalog item. So providing a description for the item. You can also enable collaboration, very often referred to as 3 bids and a buy or a quick quote type capability. So when you enable collaboration, you can actually invite multiple suppliers. Instead of providing just a straight unit price, you can actually provide a not to exceed price for your suppliers as guidance for their bidding. So invite multiple suppliers. Once you have collaborated and you've awarded or selected a bid that you like, it then moves forward and becomes a purchase order. For items that do exist in your catalog, you can search across all catalog items. There's predictive text searching. Not unlike your own personal Amazon-like experience, you can select multiple items, compare them side by side to review the specifications of the 2, change the quantities if you must, and add it to your cart. If we move forward and proceed to checkout, give our requisition a title, and we can review some information about the purchasing codes, any projects that this might be related to, deliver to address, any comments you'd like to provide to the suppliers. And here's also that real-time budget check that we had indicated. So making sure that we are buying within the constraints of our budget, whether it's set at the project or cost center level. And then we have here the approval flow. So your approval flow is custom for the item or cost center that you're buying from. So in this example, we have a cost center approver as well as my supervisor that must approve. This is what we call a parallel approval flow, meaning that both approvers would be asked to approve at the exact same moment. You can set up approvers to also be serial. We review the items that we would wish to purchase and submit it for approval. So now those two approvers have been indicated that they have to approve that item. If once it has been fully approved, we can actually jump into the supplier side. So from the supplier perspective, they log in and they can go to their inbox. They can very easily grab their purchase order. Here we have the information as far as the PO, any payment terms that have come across, shipping information. Here are our 15 sockets that we had ordered. The supplier can then provide an order confirmation, either confirming or rejecting the entire order. If all 15 are not available and maybe there's a back order on 10 of them, they can communicate back order status. They can provide a shipping notice giving you tracking details, or they can create an invoice, very often referred to as the PO flip method. AP loves the PO flip method because it very easily provides you with that immediate two-way matching on your invoices against purchase orders. I'm actually now going to pass it back to Philip to take us through some information on some content on visual procurement. Philip?
Thank you, Erica. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce you to a new concept called visual procurement. And visual procurement is a new and exciting technology developed by Innate with a product called InfinyD. I think everybody's aware that the construction industry has invested a lot through the years with visual design and construction tools and making sure that the model accuracy is great. And today we now have very rich data models that are driving unbelievable, unthinkable aspects like modular construction and installation built on the accuracy of these data models and their tolerances. But not all of these applications can easily be used downstream. They don't all have the same construct in their technology with their databases. And not all of them have, companies all have one model. Many companies use multiple models. I have an Autodesk for one application, Bentley for another application. So as rich as the data models are, they're still really trapped from driving downstream processes and other applications. So let me show you how InfinyD solves this. Innate has come up with a design that actually uses InfinyD as a federator of an open application to other design models. So you don't have to change your design model. InfinyD has developed the language standards that allow all of these models to be brought into InfinyD. You can bring one model in very seamlessly, or you can bring multiple models and federate that into one single model. Once inside of InfinyD, you can continue to enrich the data that you have in that model by creating other dimensions and associating it with other types of applications such as scheduling, procurement, and estimating. So now let me show you how InfinyD and Ariba can work together after we have a model federated inside of InfinyD. So once the models have been federated inside of InfinyD, we can use the power of InfinyD to start to filter like materials. Well, in this particular case, we're showing structural steel, but this can be any material. We'll go in and filter to a certain specification of a material. It could have been dimensional lumber, or it could be structural steel. Once we have the materials then filtered and isolated into one material type, we can then start to nest and create all of the materials in a linear summed format. Take all of the pieces and all of the cuts of that material specification, sum it up, and get it into a requisitionable view. And this is where we've built our interface to Ariba to bring this data out of the data-rich model into a sourcing event, into what you just saw Erica show you in Ariba. So let me show you the power of this visual procurement and the business processes that it creates. As you can see here in this illustration, we're showing the model lit up with different dimensions that we've created that come from other applications. One of the things that we think is possible is a new business process called clash detection between scheduling and procurement. So imagine with the integration turned on to Primavera P6, I will then filter to the model to show me only the materials to be installed in week 20 of a P6 schedule. Then I will filter those materials to show me the procurement status of those materials to be installed in week 20. So I can see what has been received, what has been purchased, what has been backordered, or there has been no procurement process done whatsoever. So now you can see the clash between the schedule in the field of what should be installed and the procurement status. We believe this technology creates a new process where we are buying out the design instead of the estimate, where the materials are not at this appropriate level for many times for procurement. So as you can see, we have created this new business process, and let me show you what those benefits will look like for the future. We think that InfinyD unlocks the direct spend and that flows now and can flow now more easily into the procurement process. This one platform now can provide all the procurement functionality for a construction company for indirect and direct construction spend. It also creates a visual experience for viewing the procurement data and the procurement process, which brings together the field and the procurement staff into a place where they can have confidence that things are being procured when the schedule needs and requires them to be installed. It also streamlines the entire business process for procurement for construction companies by allowing you to start to use the data-rich data that's in the model and to buy out the design as opposed to buy out the estimates. And then to be able to track that spend even graphically and visually as well along the way. We certainly believe that our innate partners have created a new product that is going to change the game for construction procurement, and it's called InfinyD. Jackie, back to you for any Q&A.
Thank you, Philip. That was for the preview on visual procurement. It's an exciting product, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more about it in the future. So we do have a few questions that have come in. One, and I think these initial ones are directed to you, Erica. Can requisitions be created in Ariba, or are they entered manually?
Great question. So any requisitions that are going to go through the Ariba workflows and the approval process flows will all be created in Ariba. There are features to make it a little bit less manual. So let's say you're creating the same requisitions over and again. There is a copy feature so that you can very quickly recreate a requisition multiple times. Another feature that's actually coming soon is recurring purchases. So if you need to set up a recurring purchase order and automatically schedule that, that will actually be coming soon in the roadmap.
Okay. And can approvals be created for individual projects?
Another great question. So absolutely. The approval flows are very dynamic in nature and very custom. So what we want to be able to do is take all of those factors into consideration, project level, cost center information, commodity codes, whatever behavior is going to drive that approval flow to be unique and custom, we pre-build that for you so that the logic is already predetermined.
Okay. And lastly, I think this question is directed for you, Philip. How is Kiewit using Ariba across projects?
Thanks, Jackie. Kiewit's approach is going to be to start with their enterprise indirect procurement, but at the very same time starting to work by business segment of construction to get to their direct procurement. So starting with their EPC operations first, which is where these integrations are being built, but then to proceed to the other business segments that they have, including self-perform and general contracting, to get to their direct procurement spend.
Good. Thank you. Well, I think that's it for today's session. I want to thank you all for attending, and a big thank you to our presenters as well, Philip Schell and Erica Andrews. We'd love to continue this conversation with you. So please have you or your colleagues feel free to reach out to any one of us. And again, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.